Welcome to my show. Today we will unveil one of the longest legal battle Indian Muslims fought after the right-wing extremists destroyed a 500-year-old mosque in secular India called the Babri Mosque. Indian political analyst Vidya Subramanian says Babri Mosque's destruction laid the foundation of right-wing government of Modi's New India. Babri Masjid, a Muslim place of worship built in 1528 by Mughal ruler Babur, and it has been used as place of worship until 1949. According to Indian historian R. Nath, the mosque was built during this Delhi Sultanate between 13th and 15th century and may have been renovated during the Mughals period. That means Babri Masjid existed as a mosque since 1300, and it is an icon for the region, not just for Indian Muslims. And its historical heritage belongs to entire region. India became an independent nation state on 15th August 1947 from British colony, but within 2 years, on 22nd December 1949 night, a group of Hindu extremists entered the mosque and placed an idol of Ram, who been worshipped mainly in northern part of India. Next morning, the event organizers asked Hindu devotees to come to the mosque to view the idol which they placed in the mosque during the night. According to Mr. Srivastava Navathia, a renowned Indian journalist and a political analyst, India's one of the most popular 78-episode TV serial called Ramayana began on 25th January 1987, has contributed zeal towards the building of Ram temple. India's current right-wing Hindu nationalist ruling party leader L.K. Advani began a nationwide rally in October 1990. Since then, India's social and political atmosphere began to tilt and emerged as anti-Muslim sentiment. On 6th December 1992, a well-organized militant Hindus demolished the mosque on daylight under the Indian security forces, media persons, political elites watch. India was ruled by the Congress party during all this time. Post-Babri Masjid destruction witnessed well-organized attack on unarmed Muslims throughout India. Since then, the legal battle began over the mosque. While the world is under the COVID lockdown, Indian Supreme Court made a decision in favor of those who destroyed the mosque on 9th November 2019. Today we discuss about the destruction of the mosque, and we got a very special guest on our studio. And I welcome on behalf of 5 News and my show and my audience, Mr. Zia Ahmad. Zia Ahmad is a well-known senior journalist and editor-in-chief of Australian Muslim Times, otherwise known as AMUST, which has recently received many awards from government and community organization. Mr. Zia Ahmad basically a biochemist, and he is one of the trustee of Australian Multicultural Eid and Fair, which is Australia's first, longest, largest running multicultural Eid festival. He is well respected in the community, and his family is now 4th generation in Australia, one of the early pioneer from Indian subcontinent. So he has deep knowledge about Babri Masjid and what is happening towards Muslim in India at the moment. So once again, welcome Mr. Zia Ahmad.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and accepting this interview. So I would like to, whatever I said about you because you received many awards from government and community organization about your community activities and your writing your newspaper. So I hope that I covered. If I missed something, and I know you're by profession you're a biochemist, but you became a journalist, and you are doing very great job, and it's became international recognized newspaper. So this is a few issues of the newspaper, and once again welcome. So I would like to ask a few questions on this topic. Indian Supreme Court decision to give the land to those who destroyed the mosque and directed 5-acre land somewhere else to provide to a Muslim group. Mr. Ahmad, as a journalist, what do you think about this Supreme Court decision?
Well, look, traditionally, my understanding of the judicial system in India in the past has been very good. That was one pillar of strength in Indian democracy. Unfortunately, during the last decade or so, but especially since the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, a Hindu nationalist party, came into power in 2016 under the Prime Minister Shiva Modi, I think the courts have been compromised. And a number of decisions being taken by the Supreme Court in India in the last year or so, I feel that they are under pressure from the BJP government. One of the main judgments which was taken in December regarding Babri Mosque. This case has been there for a long time, and the expectation was that the courts were moving in a very unpartisan way. But I think the aggressive attitude which has been adopted by the Modi government since the re-election in 2019, now they are actually taking over various different institutions, including the judicial system within the executive power of the government.
Thanks. That means they are compromising the very foundation of the secular democracy. That means the fair judiciary is compromised, which is very, very sad news about a country like India.
Exactly, and we were proud of the Indian judiciary in the past. You know, there have been cases where the judiciary has gone against the government in the past, and that has been the case. But now things are very different, especially in case of the Babri Mosque decision. You know, the Chief Justice Gogoi, he is the one under whom this verdict was taken. Now he is actually a member of parliament on behalf of the Babri, on behalf of the. So you can see that how very overtly the government is actually bribing the judiciary. So he has been rewarded. He has given a lot of verdicts pro-government in the past regarding the Rafale, that bribery case as well, and now the Babri Masjid, and after that he was given a ticket to become a member of parliament, and now he's sitting in the parliament. So you can see that openly how judiciary has been compromised now. Yeah.
Thank you. And my next question, according to Indian political analyst Siddhartha Varadarajan, he says, for more than a quarter of a century, Ayodhya has served as a metaphor for the politics of revengeism, one which combines with the deployment of manufactured mythology around the figure of Rama, with mob violence, majoritarianism, and a spectacular contempt for the rule of law. On basis of that one, I will ask you, could you please explain the current political polarization in India and situation about Muslim minorities in India?
Yes, indeed. Look, since the partition, when India became an independent state, Indians are very politically conscious people. And I'm proud to say that. They have brought in governments and they've taken out governments for their, based on their performance. If they perform well, those governments have been in. Otherwise, they have been taken out. One of the cases was the Indira Gandhi government. It was taken out.
Which government?
Indira Gandhi.
Okay.
Indira Gandhi's government was basically taken out by because it was doing excessive and taking a lot of power, and she was removed.
Emergency period.
Emergency period, and she was removed. Okay. And then, because the opposition did not perform well, she was again brought back. So the electoral system in India in the past has been very good. Now you'll see that in the 1980s, 83, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, which is basically the political arm of the Hindu supremacist RSS, Rashtra Sevak Sangh. They have been working since the 1920s on a Hindu supremacist platform, but they were not given any boost by the general public, Hindus or otherwise. In 1983, they had only 2 member of parliaments in the federal parliament. So what they have done now is that they work very hard to bring about this polarization on the basis of religion, Hindu-Muslim. And they worked very hard on that in the last 30, 35 years. And slowly, they started first raising up the issue of Babri Masjid, which the court case was slowly going on that, but they raised it up. And we know about Advani, his Rath Yatra and all that. He went throughout the length and breadth of the country, inciting Hindus on the basis of religion, anti-Muslim agenda. And the result has been that now BJP is in power with a great majority of members of parliament. So this polarization has been created on an emotional level to basically get the votes of the majority community in India.
Okay, thank you very much. Recently, after the Babri Mosque decision, I read on a Twitter, a Kuwaiti lawyer called Mijbil Al-Shureka is offering his free service through Twitter. Last month he tweeted, Muslims of India are not alone. Babri Masjid belongs to every Muslim on the planet. The Ummah won't stay silent until justice is done and Babri Masjid is reconstructed at the site where it was illegally demolished. That's what and it's from Kuwaiti lawyer. So as my question was based on that, how do you respond to this statement as a Muslim leader living in the West?
Okay. Now, I think we have to realize that the Babri Mosque, or Babri Masjid we call it, is not an issue just for Indian Muslims. Okay? Of course, it is Indian Muslim, but I think it's well beyond that. So it's a question of Indian heritage. It's a 500 years old Indian heritage for all Indians. How we need to preserve our heritage, and doesn't matter which religion it belongs to. So it is for all Indians. So first thing. Second thing is also it's not an issue for Indian Muslims only. It's a heritage of all the people, and especially Muslims of the whole South Asia, including Bangladeshis as well as Pakistanis. So it's not just Indian Muslims. It's not a property of Indian Muslims. It's for the whole of South Asian Muslims, or South Asians, as a whole. That's on one level. On the bigger level, also that mosques are very much revered among Muslims. Just like Jerusalem is not a question of Palestinians. Jerusalem is a Muslim issue for all Muslims everywhere. So any destruction of mosque becomes an issue for the whole Ummah, all Muslims. So I'm happy to hear that the Kuwaiti gentleman has raised an issue there. But unfortunately, the Muslim rulers in the Arab countries, they have been very much silent on this issue. And that's another issue, the relationship of India and the Arab rulers in the Middle East.
Yeah, and I personally, a destruction of any place of worship is not acceptable as an international community, and especially being an Australian multi-faith and multicultural society, we don't accept that. And any heritage places, even in Australia, got only 200 years of heritage, but we preserve certain buildings, regardless of, there is no connect with any religion, but we preserve, that's a history. And destroying history is very harmful deed. And my next question,
just to give an example, is that, the Broken Hill Mosque,
yeah.
that has been restored.
Yeah.
And that's an Australian heritage. It has nothing to do just only with the Muslims. It's Australian heritage.
Yeah, I know that.
So the Babri Mosque is the heritage of whole of Indians, South Asians, and it's a world heritage. And that was destroyed, and then on the basis of that on the same land, a temple is being constructed. And this is a travesty of justice.
It's not Babri Mosque is not just a mosque, it's a historical icon of India itself.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. And my next question is, Indian Prime Minister Modi laid foundation stone for Ayodhya Ram Temple on 5th August, which coincides with India's brutal siege in occupied Kashmir. Because 5th of August has nothing to do with the Ram Temple or any other historical event other than 5th of August is India imposed the anniversary of siege in occupied Kashmir. So according to news, Hindu National celebrated. So it became a celebration of the atrocities committed to the Kashmiris. That's what the 5th of August. In Sydney, Blacktown Council facilitated the celebration and Jai Sri Ram slogan has been raised. So my question on the basis of this event, Muslims in Australia feel it is against the very value of Australia and violating its multicultural and multi-faith spirit. Based on that, I would like to ask, will this unprecedented incident create backlash in the harmonious Australian community?
Okay, thank you. So let me just look at what actually happened on 5th of August this year. Now you'll see that since re-election of Modi and the BJP government beginning of last year, the BJP government has become very aggressive. And now they are not holding anything now. They are on full frontal attack on the Muslim community in India. So you'll see that, there used to be an advertisement of a pest control, Peebo. I always remember that. And we used to sing at our home, hit him high, hit him low, hit him with the old Peebo. You might have heard about that. So what is now the BJP government is doing is exactly copying the tactics of the Israelis. So when you hit the opposition, you don't hit them once. You hit them hard, and then you hit them another 2-3 times. So for example, if I hit you in your stomach, you will be very painful. And what I will do then, I will hit you on your knee, and then you will hold the knee. Then I will slap you on the face, gentle slap. So what will happen, you will forget about that hit on the stomach, on the knee, and you will just worry about this slap there. So Israelis have been doing this with the Palestinians all the time. Okay? And now the Indian BJP government is doing the same thing. Okay? Hitting Muslims one after the other, so they forget the previous attack. Okay? So what they did was a big attack on the Kashmiris on 5th of August. Okay? There was an agreement between the state of Kashmir and the Indian government at the time of partition. They basically, and there was a UN resolution to take a referendum or plebiscite, the Kashmiris call it, to decide what they want to do. Whether they want to stay in India or go with Pakistan or stay independent or whatever arrangement. So that the India government has been postponing all the time. But now BJP government in a very overt way has just stripped Jammu and Kashmir of this special status. And there's another story about that. And after that, then they brought this verdict, second attack against Babri Mosque. So while Muslims have been, now Indian Muslims, when Kashmir thing happened, Indian Muslims just felt silent because they didn't want to get into the Kashmir issue. Okay, they went after that. Then the Babri Mosque. Then again, Indian Muslims were, second attack, kept quiet. Third one came out on the CAA. And then Indian Muslims said, oh, it was first the Assamese and then the Kashmiris and the Babri Mosque and all that. No, it's a question of each one of us. And then a movement started there. Okay, so you see how they have done this thing there. And then deliberately this year, okay, they chose 5th of August, which is the time Kashmiris were stripped of their autonomy or that status, and have been in lockdown since then. Okay, we have been suffering with the lockdown for the last few months as well, but still we have got internet and Zoom meetings and all that. Kashmiris have been without communication, without schools, without growing their fruits and vegetables and all that. And there's no news which can come out of there. So we don't know what's happening in Kashmir for more than a year. It's really amazing that how brave Modi has become now, that on 5th, on the same day, without showing any sensitivity towards Kashmiris or Muslims in India, he inaugurates and puts forward the foundation ceremony, foundation stone on the very same day. And his speech, if I'm not sure whether you have read his speech, he's been talking about Indian power, aggressiveness, and just replace that word Indian into Hindu. Okay, so he is basically, although he uses the word Indian, but he basically means Hindu power, Hindu hegemony, everything to do with Hindu, and he is neglecting 200 million Muslims, which is like 1 in 5 of the Indian population, completely disregarding, disenfranchising, ignoring them as if they are not Indian. And of course, there are other minorities as well. So it just shows that how aggressive this Hindu supremacist movement has become in India. Now, with this background, coming back to Blacktown issue. So I have been dealing with the Blacktown issue for the last couple of weeks, very intensely.
So, are you writing any article on it?
Yeah. Just this morning, in fact, before I came here, I just completed an article on this issue, which has been relayed at 9 o'clock in the morning. Is gone there. So, Blacktown City Council, apparently there was a big LCD screen on a trailer in the car park near the Civic Center. It's a council park that was set up there. And the whole ceremony for about 12 hours, Modi coming, Modi going, Modi doing this, Modi cleaning his nose or whatever, all these details were basically shown on that. And apparently the mayor, as well as one of the councillors, Maninder Singh, they were somehow duped into coming there and saying a few words. So when this thing happened, and then the Muslim community got a bit upset about it, what's happening there and all that, and then representations were made to the mayor as well as Maninder Singh to explain what is happening and all those things. And finally, last Wednesday, 19th of August, there was a meeting of the Muslim community leaders with the officials of the Blacktown Council. The details are in my article, but I just want to brief what actually happened. So The manager of the Blacktown Council, Peter, Farmer, he explained what actually happened. They said that the Hindu Council, they requested that they want to have Diwali lighting and want to gather a lot of people there and celebrate and all those things. And the council basically said that no, you can't have that because of the COVID-19, we cannot allow that. And then they said, okay, we want to put just an EVM sign there, the street sign. And they said, well, all right, you put a EVM sign, that's fine. So Peter was saying that to our surprise, we looked out and found that there was an LCD screen, but they never talked about it. And somehow Councillor Moninder Singh was involved in terms of taking the mayor as well, and the mayor was, I think, duped into it, and he went. They both went there and said a few words. Now, in the meeting, the mayor said that look, he actually admitted his ignorance on this issue. He said if he would have known that it's a partisan issue, he would have been careful. And he said he did not know, the council did not know the significance of this date and what was happening. They thought it was some sort of a religious celebration of Diwali or something. And they gave a speech there. And Councillor Singh also said the same thing, that he first he denied that he did not facilitate or he was not involved in organizing this thing, but he went there it was some sort of a celebration and go there. Now we questioned him and quizzed him on that, Anjum Rafiqi, the Kashmiri guy, that he's of Sikh faith and he's from South Asia. He would have known the sensitivity of that date and of that thing. So he should have briefed the council on the historical thing and the date and all those things there. Unfortunately, he did not. So anyway, cutting it short, all the three people, council officials, they provided an explanation about what has happened. They categorically apologized from the Muslim community for hurting their feelings on this issue, and they said that this will not take place in future. And they reassured the community that this kind of divisive functions and events will not take place in Blacktown Council. His council is for all religions, for all people. So a lot of reassurance was given there, which the Muslim community leaders have accepted. And we hope that things will be good in that respect. So yes, from an Australian point of view, Australia is we want peace and harmony among all communities. Everybody can practice their religion and all that, but we don't want to hurt the feeling of people of other faiths, and especially in terms of this Hindutva ideology, where they talk about Hindu supremacist thing which can create division in the society. I think that's of concern. And I might add here that I've recently come to know that the overseas wing of RSS now has got 39 branches overseas. The largest ones are in Nepal. And they are working with these people and raising funds, which has been given to RSS in India, especially from rich Indians in the US. In Australia, I'm not aware of this thing, but of course, there are groups here as well which will become more active if action is not taken against them of promoting this kind of a Hindu supremacist ideology, just like Nazism. And we have to be on the watch to make sure that these kind of groups don't take roots in our society in Australia.
Once again, thank you, Mr. Zia Ahmad, for coming. And as you said, what happened in Blacktown Council is, which is very unethical, and we don't want what happening in overseas to come on our streets. And we recommend Australian authorities to keep a watch on these kind of things, and it will, of course, it will disturb our harmonious society, and we want that it shouldn't be happening, because we don't want anything coming from overseas happening on our own society. So once again, thank you for coming and accepting this interview, and maybe in the future we'll ask you to come for another show or something. And meanwhile, thank you everybody. Bye.